What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV and welcome back to Arsenal Therapy. This is the coping mechanism that we need people to get through a difficult defeat for Arsenal. Listen, performance wasn't bad, but the result was definitely not what we was hoping for. Unai Emery getting one over Arsenal and Arteta, and Liverpool going top of the Premier League. But listen, we'll go through it. Player ratings, we'll look at the table. Where was the game won and lost? And we'll look ahead as well. Big up to everyone tuning in today. Hope you had a great weekend. And hope you are well. Looking forward to the week ahead. And it could have been so much different for Arsenal. That is for sure. But, you know, we're going to break it down. What went wrong. What we need to do moving forward. And whether we can still win this league and the January window and so on and so forth. Monty says, it's the wind, Curtis. It's the wind. Yeah, Robbie was out there doing his best Thai impression. It's too windy for us to win the game. What do you expect to happen? It was gale force. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I am calmer now. And what I want to say is, I think sometimes, number one, when you're watching the game, you are in a different mind frame. And I think as Arsenal fans, I think it's very important to concentrate on purely what's in front of you at that time. But sometimes with me, I get caught up in a thing of like, it's not just the fact that we were losing to Villa. I've seen this performance time and time again this season. It feels like watching the same movie and expecting a different ending. Like, you know what happens once the Titanic hits the iceberg. You know, it's like watching that movie and thinking that the boat's going to float away, get to the shore, and everyone's going to step off. You know what's going on. Leonardo DiCaprio's going in the water, and it's going to be cold out there. Like, I've seen this movie before. Arsenal doing well, January transfer window, get linked with big players, don't sign big players, have a bad spell at the end of the season, lose the title to Man City, win the last 5 games when there's no pressure on. Then we go to pre-season, new kits come out, sign a player, back to square one. It just feels like that. Maybe it is an overreaction. Maybe it is. It's one game. It's not the end of the world. We did play well. But it just feels like that, people. It does. I got to be honest. But listen. Let's not go over the top. Let's hope I'm seeing a different movie. Maybe this is Titanic 2. This one's got some sort of extra proofing on it that it can hit an iceberg and carry on, you know. But anyway, it's Monday. I'm waffling. But I'll always speak my truth, people. I'll always speak my truth. That's one thing. Did you watch Titanic this week? I mean, I hope not. But anyway, big up to everyone locked in. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got lots to talk about. Obviously, we got a game tomorrow against PSV. It's a dead rubber. It doesn't really mean much. I would still like to see Arsenal win. I would like to see us make a lot of changes as well for that game, as I just think with the likes of Liverpool in the next couple of weeks, we got Brighton this weekend. I do not want to see a very strong Arsenal team on that pitch. I know winning and losing is a habit, and I don't want us to go to Eindhoven and get beat. But what's worse is to go there with a strong 11 and get injuries. I've got to be honest. I will be very relaxed on the watch-along tomorrow. I promise you. You will see no sort of reaction that you saw at Villa Park the other day. I just have to say, I have to give some credit to Aston Villa. Anytime we lose and anytime your team loses to a club, it's very easy to be bitter about the opposition. But I do have to give Aston Villa some credit. You know, it's a manager that we got rid of. Probably the right manager at the wrong time. He's gone to Villa. He's taken them out of a relegation fight last season. They're now a few points off the top of the league. He's done a fantastic job. No £700 million. No 4 years. No process. No PRs. No phases. Just solid management. So I have to give him some credit as well, to be honest, as much as it does pain me. Villa away is tough. It is. And listen, they beat Man City, but I think we should have taken something out of that game. I think we played ourselves a little bit. Anyway, let's talk about the game. Let's just get it over with. Arsenal Therapy, people. The doctor has arrived. It's time for your appointment. What is happening at Arsenal? Was this a one-off? Were we just unlucky? Or is this something that has been happening a lot and we got what was coming to us. This is what we need to figure out during this show. Villa beat us 1-0. John McGinn after 7 minutes. It was Haggis, it was Iron Brew, it was John McGinn. And I have to say, in the player ratings, I'm going to have some very harsh things to say about some players. As I said, people, losing doesn't mean everybody played bad. Winning doesn't mean everybody played good. So, it doesn't mean because we lost 1-0, I'm going to rate everyone at 3 out of 10. There was a few players that played well. There was a few players that I'm going to have some detailed discussions about for different reasons. Now, I tell you my concern about this defeat. Right? Is I was looking at this stat, and I want to bring this stat to the table. This is the top 10 teams in the Premier League at the moment, right? This is the top 10. Now, we've only played in this top 10 away from home. We've only played 2 of these teams away from home in the Premier League this season. If you want to involve the Carabao Cup, then we can involve that as well, right? Aston Villa away, beaten 1-0. Newcastle away, beaten 1-0. I know, controversial goal, but we certainly didn't do enough to win the game. It probably should have been 0-0. West Ham away, Carabao Cup, beaten 3-1. That is concerning. That has to be concerning for any Arsenal fan. Bear in mind, our next away game in the Premier League is Liverpool at Anfield. And the thing is, in the second half of this season, because we've played City at home, Tottenham at home, United at home, Brighton will be at home this week, we're going to have to go to these grounds in those crunch moments in the second half of the season when the title's on the line and you've got to go to the Etihad. You've got to go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You've got to go to Old Trafford. You've got to go to Anfield. These are the games where it's crunch time. Sometimes in your own house, you're a bit more comfortable. We can beat these teams. Away from home is concerning. I mean, Football Capo saying Liverpool can be got at. They can. But guess what? They're going to look at us and say we can be got at. It flips on its head. When's the last time we beat Liverpool at Anfield in the league? So, and even if we go further down, I've accepted the cookies so Chelsea can get involved. Even if we go further down, fair play, we did beat Brentford in the Carabao Cup, but we drew at Chelsea. Chelsea have lost 7 games this year. We drew with them. We were 2-0 down. We made very hard work of it. I feel like the issue with Arsenal this season, we've sacrificed our attack to strengthen the defence, right? We're definitely more solid, but we are not as good going forward. And that is what we need to address. We need to find that balance of why are we being outscored by Aston Villa, by Liverpool, by Manchester City. Newcastle have got the same amount of goals as we have. Tottenham have got the same amount of goals. We have to find a way to get that attack cooking. We have to. I saw another stat. Mo Salah has more Premier League goals than Arsenal's strongest front three. What you would consider Arsenal's strongest front three, which I think most of you would say Jesus, Saka, Martinelli. I understand Jesus and Martinelli have had a few injuries, so they haven't played every game. I get that. But Salah has more goals than our front three put together in the Premier League. That is damning. That is damning. We are not scoring the same amount of goals. Salah is 31. You would say he's past his peak. I get it. It is Salah. And I know Salah's a monster. More than any of them individually, I'll accept. But more than all 3 of them, that worries me. That worries me. We've got to find the solution if we are going to win the title. I mean, they call him No Salad, but he's 31. He's still breaking records. So listen. Let's go over the game. I mean, when you look at the game, Arsenal had 62% possession, 12 shots, 5 on target, 3 corners each, and we weren't able to score past Emery. Let's do the player ratings. Emery Martinez, clean sheet. You knew it was going to happen, didn't you? You just knew it was going to happen. Let's talk about David Raya. You know the drill, people. Read their name out. Throw your rating in the chat. Before I get into the player ratings, let me quickly go through the player ratings, the super chats. Dylan said, you've got an agenda with the offside goal intro. Relax, he was onside. You couldn't see the full pitch. Big up yourself, Dylan. Rock said, don't apologise for showing passion. Rock, not everyone, but some of this fan base, they would rather have a soft lie than an uncomfortable truth. The truth will set you free, people. But sometimes you start talking about the truth, they can't handle it. They start calling you a toxic fan. Just support the club. Accept whatever they give us. Big up Rock. Listen, passion will always be there. Juan said, same movie, just new characters and better graphics. It's true. It's like going from the Game Boy to the PS5. It's still Tetris. You can just see a few more angles and the colours are a little bit better. It's still the same game. Big up yourself. And Sam has said, I think Kivior needs another look in. I watched City at the game with Luton. Townsend was causing havoc on the left. Zinni was the weakness leading to the Villa goal. Right. Big up Samaz. Kivior at left back concerns me. Maybe play him at centre back. We're going to talk anyway in detail. Let's go through the player ratings and start with David Raya. I mean, listen, I'm not going to criticise this performance. I'm just saying overall, the guy that should be playing for Arsenal was playing for Villa, but we won't get into that. Didn't do anything wrong. Saw people blaming him for the goal. I don't think he could save it. It was past him in a flash. I know it was close to him. 6 out of 10. Did what he needed to do. I don't think it was below average. I thought he was okay. I've got no problem with David Ray's. Some of you hammering him, giving him a 4. I don't think he was bad. I don't think the goal was his fault. And after that, he was fine. I don't think it's fair to blame him. I mean, Franklin says he should have saved it. I think sometimes in slow motion, the ball going past him, it looks like he could, but I just don't think that was true. I'll give him a 6. Football Capo said, Raya 5 with shake hands. I want to tell you the biggest, I won't say disrespect, but the biggest viewpoint that opposition teams now believe David Raya is a weakness was Aston Villa's corner putting 5 players in the 6-yard box surrounding David Raya. That told you what Unai Emery thought about David Raya. This guy is dodgy. Get around him. He won't collect the cross. They don't rate him. It wouldn't surprise me if you see a number of teams start doing that to David Raya. And that's not good. That is not good. And one thing I realised, I mean, I know Christmas is coming up. One of my favourite Christmas movies, Will Ferrell, The Elf. He comes from the North Pole, goes to New York, and David Raya looked a little bit like an elf. No disrespect. He looked small, bruv. I said, rah, how small is this goalkeeper? They're looking, all of them look taller than our keeper. He looked like the elf. I thought Will Ferrell was standing. I couldn't believe it. I had to check how tall. He's 6 foot tall. 6 foot is small for a goalkeeper, man. It was the Elf movie, Will Ferrell. I said, raw, we really got the Elf for Christmas. 6 foot for a keeper. Information and entertainment. Just let it go, people, please. You've got an agenda. He's tall enough. He looked tiny. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, 6 out of 10 for the Elf. I mean, David Raya. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year. Let's go into the back 4. Let's start with Ben White. If you thought I was disrespectful to David Raya, calling him an elf, listen, you may have to leave the room and turn the laptop off because it ain't going to get much better from here. This guy, for me, I'm not in a good mind frame with this guy at the moment. I'm really not. The first season when we signed him at centre-back, I didn't rate him. I've got to be honest. He went to right-back last year and I thought, you know what? You've had a heck of a good season there. He's got injured. He's come out the team. Tomiyasu's on fire. He's got injured. Ben White's come in. What the hell was he doing on that goal? What on earth was he doing? Have you ever seen a defender with so little enthusiasm to try and block a shot? John McGinn's got his back to you, bro. You can see the name on the back of his shirt. He's turned, hit it. You've put some pathetic little leg out. Oh, I don't really want to put my leg out. I've got a big night out coming up tonight. Got my nice suntan. My tattoos look great. But remember, he don't watch football. No wonder Southgate don't pick him for England. And I don't rate Southgate. He's a shocking manager. But I wouldn't pick him for England either. You've got Trent, Reece James, Kyle Walker. What are you going to pick him for? I have never seen such abysmal, just uninterested, lazy defending as what I saw on that goal. Pathetic from Ben White. Honestly, just send him to Ibiza for Christmas. Let him do what he really wants to do. Last season, Ben White looked like a proper right back. He did. He looked good. I thought, yo, this is one of the best right backs this season. This year, he looks like a centre-back playing at right back that don't want to be there. He looks uninterested. He didn't overlap Saka. He didn't help him. Defensively, it was pathetic for the goal. I'm sorry, he gets a 2 out of 10. He gets 1 for putting his boots on the right feet, and 2 because, you know, he looks like he topped up the suntan. Pathetic defending. Like, diabolical defending. Not interested. Seaside Scalacci, they're calling him. It was a joke. He said he don't watch football. That looked like he don't play football. He's got to do better than that. This does not look like the Ben White from last season. I don't know what's going on. Ben White last year was what I'd say with Trippier, best right back in the Premier League last year over the course of the season. That was pathetic. I'm sorry, people. I have to speak my truth. I told you, this channel ain't for everyone. Harsh realities here, people. It was pathetic. It was Mustafi-esque. But let's move on. Let's go to Zinchenko. Zinchenko, oh, always believe in your soul. I mean, this guy is. Do you know what? Listen, let me get into it. Let me be honest. Zinchenko did some really good things and some really bad things. He actually wasn't terrible, if I'm being honest. And I always say, I think I've told this story a million times. Growing up, there was a friend of mine, he hated Bentner. He used to ring me all the time, Bentner's so bad. I said, brother, he don't pick himself. The thing we moan at Zinchenko about is kind of the thing that the managers telling him to do. So ultimately, I have to say, like, is it his fault? You know, is it the manager's saying, bro, I want you to get into midfield, support Declan Rice and play passes and try and open up their defence. Naturally, when we get hit on the break, he's probably not going to be at left back. I thought on the ball he was okay. He was one of the only players in our team that actually looked like he was going to open up their defence. Defensively, I think at the start of that move, he's high up the pitch. He gets done by Bailey on the halfway line. But again, I think that goal could have been stopped after that. I'm thinking 5.5. I'm thinking 5.5. I don't think he was that bad. I've got to be honest. Do you know why I've got to give him some credit, right? I know it's easy to hammer him here. He got a yellow card in the first 20 minutes up against Bailey, who's already got an assist. Bailey didn't do anything the rest of the half. And then Diaby comes on at half time. I'm thinking he's going to get roasted. And Diaby didn't really do anything either. So I actually don't think defensively he was that bad. On the ball, he gave the ball away a few times. He played a couple of decent passes over the top. I'll give him a 5.5. You know, he shouldn't be at left back. I don't know how many times I need to say it. Fabian Delph won the title at left back. I didn't see anybody saying, give me Fabian Delph. You know, I didn't see anybody sign Fabian Delph and play him at left back. He went to Everton and played centre mid. We just need to get it through our heads that this guy ain't a left back. And every game he plays at left back, I'm blaming the manager. It's as simple as that. Play him in midfield or bench him. But guess what? You can't bench him because you don't have cover. You played Kivior there and he can't play there. And guess what? Kieran Tierney's on loan in Spain and he's back fit and he played at the weekend. So if you had a proper squad, you wouldn't have to have this problem. Let's go to the two centre-backs. I thought Saliba was a little bit sloppy on the ball. Defensively, I don't think we were troubled at centre-back. Apart from the goal, I don't think the two centre-backs were troubled. I'm going to give Saliba a 6 and I'm going to give Gabriel a 7. For me, Gabriel was slightly better than Saliba. A couple times Saliba was sloppy on the ball. But you look back on that game, where was the goal threat outside of the goal? They didn't really do anything. Didn't do anything. I thought Gabriel was actually... I'll probably give Gabriel man of the match. I'm letting you know that from now. I thought he had a really good game against Ollie Watkins. Watkins pinned Saliba a couple of times. He never did it to Gabriel. I thought Gabriel was really good. I give Gabriel a 7. Saliba, yeah, maybe we got a flat tire on the Rolls Royce. So 6 for Saliba, 7 for Gabriel. Let me go through these super chats before we go into the midfielders. They're mounting up a little bit. Marcus Crouch said, we have accepted a great coach, mediocre manager. I've said that for a long time about Arteta, and I think he's got great coaching methods. You hear coaches, you hear players. He has a very good understanding of the game. He's got that footballing brain. He's from that Pep Guardiola school of thought. I think management is something different to coaching. I think they're two very separate things. Sir Alex Ferguson, they say, didn't do a lot of the coaching, but he's one of the best man managers we've ever seen. You know, and I still think at times the man management is what lets him down. I think you're right. Why always me said we are not good enough in defence, 1 goal a game. I think at the moment you've got to say the attack's the bigger problem. We're actually defending pretty well, considering we've got a left back that's a centre midfielder, we've got a right back that's a centre back, and we've got a goalkeeper that's still finding his feet. I think the two centre backs, along with Rice in front, are actually holding that defence together. I think the bigger problem is I don't think the midfield has balance, and I don't think the attack is firing at all. Simon said, look at Ramsdale at Brentford. They crowded him at corners. Opposition are targeting both our keepers because they know now there's a confidence issue. Ramsdale comes in, his confidence is shot to pieces. Raya starts, he's making mistakes, he's trying to find his feet. So you've got two goalkeepers, both low on confidence. So from a corner, I'm putting players around them. It's a great point, that, Simon. Fitz said, Arsenal are the opposite of mentality monsters. And that's down to Arteta. We have no hunger when going forward, and the biggest proof of this is Odegaard. I mean, I think they're trying, but sometimes you just don't quite have it in you from experience. The problem you've got at Arsenal, right? I'll tell you one of the biggest problems. When you're a young player, so if you're Saliba, you're Saka, you're Martinelli, what you want is experienced players, winners that you can lean on when times get difficult. Now, the leaders you should be looking at in this group are Zinchenko, multiple title winner at Man City. Gabriel Jesus, the same. Havertz, Champions League goal scorer, the winner in the Champions League. Odegaard, Real Madrid player. I know he didn't play a lot for them, but, you know, he's been at the level. He's trained with Ronaldo and them. Odegaard is not, for me, we're going to talk about that actually shortly, but I don't see Odegaard as a captain. Havertz is quiet. He's not really a leader. Zinchenko, I mean, our leader was crying at Anfield. And Gabriel Jesus, I mean, I don't really see him. So the problem you've got, I think the reliance is put on our young players. I don't see Gabriel Jesus taking the responsibility away from Saka and Martinelli and saying, listen, I'm the experienced attacker. I'm the title winner. I'm going to win us the game today. I don't see that enough from Jesus. I don't see Havertz say, I'm the Champions League winner. Odegaard's struggling today. Give me the ball. I'll score the winner. Okay, he's chipped in with a couple goals lately, but I don't think our more experienced players take the responsibility away from our younger players. We're looking for Saka. We're looking for Martinelli to win us the game every week. And I think we're becoming predictable. Because if I was playing against Arsenal and I was the manager, I would say, stop Martinelli and Saka. I'm not that concerned that Jesus and Havertz are going to rip us to bits if we go 1v1. I think that's the problem. Big up Fitz as always. Southern Gooner, big up Matt. He said there are some serious suspects in this squad that I think will keep us from high success. In addition to the manager who managed that game from the terrace, competent teams will cause us trouble. There are definitely some suspects. There are some suspects in this team, you're right. And the manager, I do still have question marks. He's definitely taken us to a much better point. My question will always be, can he take that next step? There is a fine margin between nearly winning and winning. There's a fine margin, but only some get you over that finish line. Big up, Matt. Bellingham FC, if Partey was playing, we win that game. Havertz was making good runs. Nobody picked him up. And I'm going to be speaking about him when we go into this midfield. That's a great point, bro. Alex said, Big C, you can't blame Blen. You can't blame Blen. Blame Ben and not do the same for Zinni. Follow the ball, not the player. He was marking. That is where the goal came from. Two differences. I'll tell you the two differences, Alex. Number one, Ben White's been a defender his whole career. So he's supposed to sniff out danger more than Zinchenko. Number two, Zinchenko's on the halfway line for the first goal. Why? Because the manager's telling him to invert and go high up the pitch. He gets done by Bailey on the halfway line. That goal can still be stopped from the moment Bailey goes past Zinchenko. Ben White has got a player with his back to goal, a yard in front of him, and does nothing to block the shot. I think Ben White's defending is 10 times worse than Zinchenko's. Zinchenko's there to be done by Bailey. If anything, Zinchenko maybe should have fouled Bailey on the halfway line. But here's what it is. I don't expect a midfielder to defend at an elite level. I just don't. Because you did it at Man City doesn't mean you can do it anywhere else. They're an individual team like no one else. But I appreciate your super chat. Southern Guna said January will tell us all we need to know. I can already tell you what we're going to get. We're going to get FFP excuses. And we'll probably get one player through the door. Sam has said, we got rid of Iwobi. Look at him now. Listen, Iwobi is another guy that was not the solution to any question at Arsenal. I still believe we robbed Everton of £35 million getting rid of Iwobi. He's definitely not the solution to anything we're trying to do here. Right, let's go into the midfield. I got some problems here. I've got some problems here, people. I really have. This was the first game, and I've seen it before. This was the main game this season that I sat there and I said, we need Thomas Partey. We need Thomas Partey. We desperately need Thomas Partey in this team. And we can't rely on him. A lot of Arsenal fans have given up on him, and I understand it. It's like having a girlfriend and seeing her once a year. Like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, one thing I've realised, and I love Declan Rice. He's been our best signing this season. One thing about Declan Rice that he's not as good at, he's not progressive, quick enough with the ball. He doesn't play the through ball sometimes when it's on. Partey, because he played for Atletico Madrid, Spanish League, La Liga, Simeone, everything is about progression. Keeping the ball, play the ball forward quickly. Thomas Partey plays that ball. He threads it between the midfield. Declan Rice has come from Moyes and West Ham. Probably he doesn't play that sort of risky football. So at times, I feel like Rice is afraid to play that ball. He will try and keep it rather than risking it. That's not his fault. That will grow in time that he's at the club. We miss Thomas Partey so much. I'm going to talk about Declan Rice. Again, it's always hard for me to mark Rice down because I feel like he's carrying this midfield. I'm surprised he ain't out with a back injury because he don't get a lot of help. It's his first yellow card of the season in the Premier League. But I don't think their midfield hurt us that much. I don't think McGinn scored actually, so take that one back. But I don't think Douglas Luiz and Tielemans and Kamara, I don't think they damaged us that much. I find it difficult to ever mark Declan Rice down. I thought he was all right. I don't think it was one of his better games, if I'm keeping it 100, people. But, he was solid enough. I would probably give him 6.5. I don't think he was a 7. I don't think it was one of his best games. There were 2 or 3 times he could have slipped the through ball and he didn't do it. And it was frustrating. I think that's a mentality thing from David Moyes and West Ham. Sometimes midfielders, they'd rather keep the ball than risk losing it, even if that ball potentially opens up their defence. So I understand it. We're missing Thomas Partey. But we can't rely on him. So what have you got to do? Maybe you got to go into the market and replace him. Make sure you go and follow my boy DG, Deluded Goon. I'm sure most of you do. He said, naturally, Rice Saliba dropped a level versus Villa. And listen, it didn't cost us. It didn't cost us the game. The game was lost in other areas. I give him 6.5. He didn't get enough help. You might want to put your seatbelt on. It's about to get dangerous. We're about to go on the motorway in the fast lane. Again, I say it all the time. This channel ain't for everyone. The clip gets let off on this channel. This guy has been a very good signing since coming to the club. I don't want to start saying he's nothing like that. But I've got a real issue with what I am seeing from the Arsenal captain at the moment. Not because he missed 2 big chances. Everybody misses chances in football. It happens. They were bad misses, by the way. Let me not hide from the chances that he missed. Particularly that first one. Oh, my God. He had all the time in the world. Just smash it past Emery. He read you like a book. I tell you what I've got a problem with. I've got a problem with seeing my captain duck out of 50-50s. Now, I know Martin Odegaard's not Thomas Partey. He's not Declan Rice. He's not Gilberto Silva. He's not Patrick Vieira. He's not a physical monster who's going to wipe people out in the tackle. I understand that. To me, it's totally unacceptable for any Arsenal player to be backing out of a 50-50. There's a whole thread on Twitter of Martin Odegaard ducking out of challenges. Challenges that I can't even remember him ducking out of. But I saw them with my own eyes against Villa. I can't accept it. For missing the chances, I would have given him a 4 or 5. I'd say it's a bad day. Usually you score them and you miss them. For me, seeing my captain back out of a 50-50 because you're scared of getting hurt, that for me is absolutely unacceptable. I put a tweet up saying I think Arsenal should consider taking the armband off him. And as you can imagine, Twitter, oh, you can't take the armband off him, he'll cry. Poor Martin Odegaard. Just on all that. Sometimes you need to take the armband off people, because there's weight on their shoulders that they can't carry around. How do you know he even wants that responsibility on his shoulders? For me, it's totally on it. He's getting a 1 out of 10. He gets a, and I don't hand out 1s easily, people. I don't. Seeing my captain duck out of a challenge is just unacceptable. It's unacceptable at any level. Any level of football. Backing out of a challenge. If I'm Saka and I'm like, yo, what's my captain saying? Yo, my captain just backed out of a challenge. How the hell are we going to win this game if that's happening? Not good enough. He hasn't been good enough this season. He hasn't. But I'm not going to annihilate him for the lack of form, because it does happen. But sorry, mate, I can't accept that. I can't accept that at any level of football. Never mind at the elite level. He should be getting annihilated for that. Kai Havertz, I thought did all right. I thought we wasted him, to be honest. I watched the game back. Hey, LSU, come on. He says, come on, see, he's not ducking out because he's afraid. He's choosing not to commit a foul. Bro, he's about as tough as a wet paper towel. I'm not sure he could foul you if he tried, bro. You can't back out and say, I didn't want... Come on. We know better than that, bro. He has to put a challenge in. You're letting your team down. What if he wins the ball and we catch him on the break? Come on, bro. We can't do that. We can't make them excuse. And LSU, I respect you. You're a good part of the community. But nah, I can't do that to him. Kai Havertz gets a 7 for me. I thought first half, he did well. Second half, he's making brilliant runs. And guess what? We don't want to take a chance and play the through ball because we're scared of losing it. And I agree. I'd rather he fouled him than backed out the way. We can't be doing that. We can't give players them excuses. It's not acceptable. Yeah, I'm giving Havertz a 7. I thought first half he did well. Great pull back down the left-hand side. Jesus lays it off to Odegaard. And Odegaard hits it not straight at Emery, but do you know what I mean? Second half, he's making brilliant runs. We don't pass the ball to him. So, you're wasting him. You might as well not play him if you're not going to play the ball to him. I thought he did well, 7 out of 10. I can't put any player above 7. I got to be honest. I don't think we played. I thought Havertz and Gabriel Magalhaes was our best 2 players. Let's go to the front 3. I mean, Juan said Martin should be ashamed Kai is outperforming him. I mean, a few weeks ago, I never thought I could look at Kai Havertz in any sort of positive light. And right now, he's shifting that light over to Odegaard, bro. You know, and now I'm looking at Odegaard sideways. But big up Havertz, man. He's quietly going about his business. But if this team don't want to find him, you ain't going to get the best out of him. It's like playing Where's Wally, you know. You found him, but you don't want to pass the ball to him. Dash said, big up, Big C, big up you in the community. VAR needs to be pulled every week. There's a bad decision. It looks blatant. What do you think of Quentin Timber? Sign him solid box to box. Yeah, Timber's brother. I haven't seen much of him. VAR in this country's finished. Latte, big up yourself, bro. Odegaard always ducking out since day. You don't mind if he's scoring goals left, right and centre, but when the form drops as well, you know, it's a problem. Let's go to the front 3. Martinelli, mate. Martinelli. Let me tell you something. I am Martinelli FC on this channel. I'm Martinelli FC. I'm a big fan of him. He needs to start learning. He needs to start learning a little bit more, man. You was up against a 6'+, big, solid, strong, you know, meathead centre-back playing at right back. I thought this would be like an all-you-can-eat restaurant. I mean, Goatanelli's saying, do not be harsh. He's a big Martinelli fan. I thought this was going to be an all-you-can-eat restaurant for Martinelli. Go up and get your starter, get the bread on the side, get yourself a nice main, finish off with a dessert. Enjoy yourself. Run wild. High line, big meathead centre-back. Do whatever you want. He spent most of the time rolling around the floor with his arm in the air. It was like watching WWF. Not WWE, I'm old school. WWF. Bret the Hitman Hart. Ultimate Warrior. Hulk Hogan. The Rock. Stone Cold. That was my generation. As soon as it went to WWE, I didn't have a clue what was going on. But WWF, that was me. I thought he got hit with a Stone Cold stunner. He was on the floor with his arm in the air. Do you know what concerned me? If he was genuinely hurt, I would have defended him. You know what? It's a bad tackle. You're hurt. No problem. The man goes down. Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, referee. As soon as he realised, no free kick. You know what happened? Straight up on his feet. Awful performance. I'm going to give him a 4. I'm going to give him a 4. He was poor. I could have gone lower, to be honest. But I'll give him a 4. I knew Morpheus would be coming for me, you know. I knew he'd be coming for me. But listen, he's... Like I said, man, the stats aren't looking good for him. Stats aren't looking good. 2 Premier League goals this season. 2 Premier League goals this season, man. I mean... We're nearly halfway through the season. It was a drama class. I don't know what was going on, but it wasn't good. People saying I'm being generous, giving him a 4. Some of you giving him 2. Sidorf said 0, worse than Odegaard. We'll give him a 3. We'll give him 3.5. I got to give him more than Ben White. Ben White was more worried about losing the suntan. Don said, Curtis, we need to talk about Martinelli with his no-end product. We'll take Garnacho any day. I don't want to do that to him. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to that point. He got 15 league goals last year. He started for Brazil. But he's not playing well. He's not producing numbers. He's not producing. You know, he don't lift his head up off the ground. His head's down on the floor. He runs. Moving like Walcott. But even Walcott used to bag at the end. You know, where's the development? We need to see development. I was told Arteta's elite with wingers. I need to see development. Richard said, would you go for someone like Ancelotti in the summer if we don't win the Prem? For me, no hesitation. I said my tweet. I said all I needed to say. If I don't see the Premier League or the Champions League or some sort of progression, I would be looking at other options. I'm not saying that means he definitely goes. You've got to get a better option, but Latte mentality was wrong. A lot of players rolling on the floor. Got to be up for the fight. Got to be up for the fight. When you keep patting people on the back and saying, oh, don't worry, they think it's all right. Now, when the manager was constantly saying, we're the youngest team, they need time to develop, what you're doing, you're creating an excuse for them. Instead of saying, I don't care if you're the youngest team in the league. You're grown men, you're internationals, you're rich, you're millionaires. You've all got probably 100 games plus under your belt in the Premier League. There's no excuse now. If you're good enough, go and show us you're good enough. I'm sick of hearing the whole, oh, we're nice, we're young, give us time to blossom. I'm not interested in that. Not interested in that one bit, mate. Nobody cares. Pep ain't going to let us off because we're young. Klopp ain't going to let us off because we're young. In the Champions League, when we go to Napoli, or we go Madrid, or we go Bayern, do you think they give a damn that we're young? They don't give a damn. Aston Villa kicked us all over the pitch, dark arts. Diego Carlos saw Eddie Nketiah running up to him, elbowed him in the face, got away with it. Didn't give a damn. Konza saw Martinelli running with his head down. Bop, 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 bop! Take that, boy. Don't care how young you are. Get up. Dark Arts, Premier League winner. No excuses. You got to handle the fight. It's not just about being talented. Southern Gooner, did you see Jesus slack run after he was put clean through? We have to get somebody who can put those goals in. Not good enough. Listen, well, Martinelli, I give Martinelli 3.5. Let's go to Saka. Thought Saka was a bit better, but not much better. Luca Digne gets a yellow card. I'm thinking, here we go. Saka's going to deal with him. Saka didn't deal with him. Didn't deal with him. He played a great ball into Jesus, though, the one that you're talking about, but he flopped it. Get up, stand up. Na, na, na. Stand up for your eyes. Dun, 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 dun. Get up, stand up. Dun, 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 dun. Don't give up the fight. Some man were giving up the fight, man. Some man were giving up the fight. Saka. Saka wasn't great. Saka wasn't great. I thought he was a bit better than Martinelli, but he got 1v1 with Luca Digne loads of times. Didn't do anything. He's too predictable for me at times, but you know, I let him off a little bit because he's produced numbers throughout the season, so I give him a 4.5. I thought the front three were terrible. Absolutely dreadful. Didn't look like scoring all game. You know, outside of them Odegaard chances, what did that front three do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. 4.5 for Saka. Not one of his better days. Again, gets kicked around all the time, put on the floor. Needs to add, needs some skill, man. We need some more silk. We need some step-overs and some nutmegs from him. And Gabriel Jesus. I don't know. Gabriel Jesus just confuses me as a player. I don't know where I'm at with him. I'm 50-50 like, you know, one of the lifelines on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. 50% of me says the link-up play, the movement, the first touch, the occasional chop that you do on Dallo and that. You're a baller. It's Gabby Jesus. And then 50% of me says, stop all that hype. He's nothing more than a mid-20s, slightly smaller Lacazette. He runs around and he's blunt in front of goal. Like I said, it's like trying to slice pizza with a spoon. Eventually, you'll be able to slice it, but the shape of your slice will be all over the place, and it's going to be a mess by the time you've sliced it. This guy is not good enough in front of goal. I've accepted it. Pep knew what he was doing. Look at it. What player has Pep sold to another Premier League club that's been a major success? Sterling at Chelsea. I mean, Sterling's been okay. He's lively, but he's not thriving. He thrived because of City and their style. Zinchenko, he was comfortable letting Zinchenko go. He didn't care. I'll figure that out. Nathan Ake better than him. Gabriel Jesus, he won the title with no striker with Jesus on the bench. Told you everything you needed to know. Aguero went. We cannot replace him. We cannot. Jesus like, yeah, this is my time. Aguero's gone. I got a whole season, no strike. Cole Palmer's, yeah, I'll let him off. Young player, though. Not developed yet. But I'm talking about the experienced Dons. Jesus, whole season, no striker, didn't play. Got rid of him, 45. Yeah, take him. He ain't going to do nothing for you. He knew it. He knew it. No problem. Lacazette. Gabriel Lacazette. He's got a better hairline, HD cuts, and he's got immaculate cheekbones. Apart from that, it's a Brazilian smaller Lacazette. It's Gabriel Lacazette. 14 goals is his highest ever Premier League return, and that was at Man City. Got 11 for us last season. Let's have a look at his stats. Gabriel Jesus, 2 Premier League goals. It's Christmas 2 weeks today. He's got 2 Premier League goals. In 2 weeks, we're halfway through the season, and our £45 million striker has got 2 Premier League goals. 2. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I give him 4. I give him a 4. 2 for the cheekbones and 2 for the Premier League goals. There you go. 2 cheekbones and 2 Premier League goals. He gets a 4 out of 10. Gabriel Lacazette. It's Lacazette's cousin from Brazil. Yeah, he ain't scoring 15 goals this season. We score by committee, says Lone Star. Stop complaining. We score by committee. Our front 3 have got less than Salah. So what committee is that, Lone Star? That's what I want to know. Our front 3, we score by committee, apparently. Our front 3 have got less than Salah, put together. Do you want the title or do you want to finish 4th? Just let me know what we're here for. You want the title or you want to finish 4th again? Remember 4th under Arsene Wenger. That was so unacceptable that the fans protested outside the stadium. We want Wenger out. Said we want Wenger out. We're not having top 4. We want to win the league. You've taken this club backwards. Get him out of our club. That's what they said about Arsene Wenger. And I was there. You saw it. They pushed him out the door. They sacked him behind closed doors and said, tell him you've resigned. They wanted Wenger out. We're not accepting top 4. We're sick of just finishing in the top 4. We want to win the league. Now people are telling me we score by committee. All right. That committee ain't going to trouble Pep or Klopp. Let me tell you that. But hey, each to their own. I respect everyone's opinions. I don't agree with them all, but I respect them. F said, what a difference 10 months makes. Last time we played Villa, I was convinced we were winning the league. Exact opposite this time. Only thing that's the same was Odegaard missing a sitter. Killer forward needed. I said it before and I said it again. People didn't believe me. You've seen Superman, right? Strikers are Arteta's kryptonite. They are his kryptonite, people. Wingers, defenders, attacking mids. He's good. Strikers, I'm telling you, not kryptonite. Strikers, no, that one troubles him a little bit. He walked in. Aubameyang was the Golden Boot winner. Career went downhill. Lacazette, player of the season. The hairline went, the goals went, everything went. Jesus comes in, he can be our goal scorer. No, he can't. Injury prone, knee injuries, 11 goals a season. Whew. Now where do we go from here? Maybe goalkeepers a little bit as well, to be fair. 4 keepers in 4 years. And we're still looking for another one. We're desperate for a striker. Desperate. Do you want me to tell you something? Honestly? I would consider playing Havertz up front and change the style a little bit. That's the point I'm at right now. I would consider playing Havertz up top and use him as a target man, back to goal, Giroud type of player. He might actually link up well with the two wingers. I just don't. Jesus just gives me a headache. Honestly, he just gives me a headache watching him. One game, I'm like, oh my God, Joga Bonito, the chop, the finish, this Brazilian silk. The next game, I'm like, this guy wouldn't score if he was on the pitch for 2 weeks. I don't know where we go with him. You've got to buy a striker. Simple as that. Let's go to the substitutes. Who even came on? Oh, God. Look at the state of that bench, by the way. Oh, the three who came on. Oh, I mean, Nelson, I'm going to be honest. Did Nelson touch the ball once? I'm not sure. It could be NA, non-applicable for Nelson. I don't remember Nelson touching the ball once. Trossard got kicked up into the air. I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. I really should. I'm sorry. I've got a wicked sense of humour, man. You need a sense of humour to support Arsenal. I'm sorry. I do apologise if I'm offending anyone here. I was just thinking about Trossard's substitute appearance, and the only thing I can remember is Matty Cash 2-footing him, and he's doing a front flip in the air. It's just, oh, God. What is going on with this football club? And then Eddie comes... Eddie comes on. Eddie gets elbowed in the face. They said your defence is in trouble when Eddie's in the room. Diego Carlos took that personally, man. I said, what? This defence ain't in no trouble. Man gave him the people's elbow in the face. Oh, God. This team, honestly, there's something else. Don't worry, people. 2047 will win the league. Just give us 24 more years. We'll get there. Oh, my God. Trossard gets kicked in the ear and Eddie gets elbowed in the face. It's crazy. Oh, they beat us up. They literally beat us up. It was GBH in the middle of Aston. I'm telling you. I told you, Aston is a grimy area in Birmingham. They beat us up. They might have nicked the coach offers and everything. It's crazy. Listen, rate them whatever you want. I can't remember Nelson touching the ball. Trossard got kicked in the ear and Eddie got elbowed around the face. I don't know what you rate that as, to be honest. It's a comedy act. Oh, God. You need a sense of humour to support this team. Aubameyang got 2 goals. Lacazette got a hat-trick. Jeez, did Lacazette scoring a hat-trick? I thought Lyon were bottom of the league. I know Abba's been scoring a few. That French tax, eh? Samad said, I know we are crying for a striker. I've been watching the best strikers around. Half of them, they don't work. They are out of the game. Jesus and Kai will do it. Let's fix the midfield. I hope you're right, Samaz. I really do. Southern Gooner saw my Lakers didn't throw away cup titles like this. Manager, at some point we have to decide what is important. Success or the underdog feel-good story. We're at a crossroads. The thing is, if we were a basketball team, we wouldn't trade for LeBron James because I don't know if our manager wants them big personalities in the dressing room. That's the problem, you know? I'm with you on that, though. I'm with you on that. I say this all the time. We can't walk around with chest saying we're the Arsenal, the mighty Arsenal, Thierry, Bergkamp, Tony Adams, all these greats, and we're a club that's built on trophies and success and dominance and great football, and then turn around and say, well, it's a process. We'll get there eventually. No, it don't take that long if you're really serious as a football club. But I think we are at a crossroads. Meet me at the crossroads. Carl said, if only we had Havertz, another Havertz, we would have won. Now we need 2 Havertz to win, people. Big up, Carl. Marco said, bring in Osimhen, please. Just get me a striker who likes scoring goals. That's all we need, Marco. That will help. Ziggy said, Big C, I might be wrong, but a title-winning Arsenal does not include Odegaard. It's difficult. I know I hammered Odegaard in player ratings, but I think last season we had a midfield that had a great balance. Because I think if you go into a physical away game with Xhaka, Partey and Odegaard, I think Xhaka and Partey will say to Odegaard, relax. If there's any sort of physical battle, us two are going to take care of it. You stay between the lines, we'll get the ball to you and you create. Right? Partey, Xhaka, they could handle a physical battle. I think now, because Declan Rice is playing as a lone 6, he's looking at Odegaard and Havertz and saying, listen, you got to come and join in and help when we're defending. And Odegaard don't want to be there. He don't feel comfortable there. I think it's a disgrace backing out of challengers, but he obviously doesn't want to do that. So I just don't think we have the right balance in midfield. I don't. I think we're easier to play against in that midfield now. And this ain't me disrespecting Havertz because he's improved over the last month. But I still don't think that midfield three has the right balance that we had last season. Declan Rice. I said it before. Declan Rice is probably having harder games than when he was at West Ham in terms of how much work he's having to do. He was in a double pivot with Souček, and Souček's a workhorse at West Ham. So he was sharing the defensive responsibility. At Arsenal, he's doing all of it. He's doing all of the defensive work. So I don't think we're helping Rice. I don't think our midfield is properly good enough at the moment. David said, keep speaking your truth. You play the game to win. End of. This team is overcoached, weak-minded. How do you win titles with that bench? Eddie, minus 100. Eddie shouldn't even be at Arsenal. It's a joke that he still plays for Arsenal and that he got that contract and that he got 14. And some people say it's only a number. It's not only a number. It is not only a number. I'm convinced there is at least one of you in the chat at some stage in your career, I don't care if you played for school, college, university, local with your friends, semi-pro, professional. I'm convinced one of you at least at some stage has said, I want to wear number 14 today. Why? Because of Thierry Henry. That's the influence he had on people. Right? That number 14 is iconic at Arsenal. And you gave it to him. You embarrassed it. You should have retired it. He deserves it being retired. But hey, here's what it is. You're 1-0 down at Villa. You're bringing on Eddie to score a goal. You've got no chance. You might as well just forfeit the game at that point. Is it time to question Odegaard's quality? I just think the problem with Odegaard is when that game gets physical and dirty, he don't like it. That's the problem. But he needs enforcers probably to help him. I think we missed out not signing Maddison. I think he would have added to that creative quality. But, Latte said, Arteta boys need therapy. Soft. Toughness needed. Arteta's got this sort of cult following, Annie, that he's created, that anything he does, it's like we're supposed to just back it and defend it and accept it. It's not the case. It doesn't always work like that, I'm afraid. Sometimes he gets it wrong. He's a human being. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. I think you've said it before. 14 should have been retired, 100%. I don't think Odegaard's problem is talent. I think he is a talent. I've said before, I think Odegaard could play for Man City. I think you have to, because of the kind of player he is, he's a bit of a luxury player. You've got to sort of get that work base behind him to free him up and allow him to play. Singing therapy, man, we have to sing for it. Arteta's rating, it's hard to blame him. He wasn't on the touchline, but he got done by Emery. I got to give him 3 out of 10. I'll give him 3 out of 10. He got done by our old manager again. He beat us in the Europa League semi-final. Now he's beat you again. 3 out of 10 for Mikel, I'm afraid, people. Anyway, let's move on. The less said about that game, the better. I think I've said enough. He's back. Are you fit, bruv? It's only took him 6 months, but he's here. Is he going to make much difference? I don't know. How long will he stay fit for? I don't know. Emile Smith-Rowe's back in training. I don't really know what that means, to be honest. He's a cool guy. He probably won't get in the team. He might play tomorrow. I don't know how fit he is. Is he fit enough to start? People saying it wasn't Arteta managing, but the manager is allowed to give the team talk at start of the game, half-time and full-time. So effectively, he just wasn't allowed to give instructions during the game. But he was still managing. He still picked the team. He still picked the substitutes. You need to do a karaoke watch-along. Leaves in January. I don't think Smith-Rowe will leave in January. But he needs to stay fit and get in this team somewhere. Odegaard needs work so he can create. Midfield of Partey, Rice and Odegaard would work. I agree. Will we ever see that? Listen, good to see Smith-Rowe back. Our bench was looking terrible. We need options. Will he play tomorrow? Will he be sold in January? Will he stay? I think he'll stay till the end of the season. But he's got to stay fit. It's as simple. If he can't stay fit, he won't have an Arsenal career. It's as simple as that. I said this before. This guy, when fit and playing well, I thought had a big future, but the injuries are damaging him. Let's hope he can stay fit. Let's hope he can contribute something. He's got trust the process tattooed on him. So he needs to start showing us what he's capable of. I think there's a talented player there, but again, it doesn't matter how talented you are, mate. If you can't stay fit, it's pointless. It's just a pointless situation. But I'm glad to see him back. Obviously, we need Timber and Partey and Tomiyasu back as well. Football Capo said El Neni will be here longer than here. So El Neni will probably end up as a coach at Arsenal. He'll probably end up coaching at Arsenal. I got to be honest. Smith Rowe's back anyway. I'm not sure what that means, but let's hope he gets involved tomorrow. Young Gunner said, I'm going to my school to become a plumber. I'll have more tools in my belt than half these players. Never reactionary, but we need to fix up 100%. It's not panic stations. It's we need to adapt and change because something ain't quite right with us, and that's what we need to figure out. Let's listen. It wouldn't be Monday without a little bit of quick waffle. People are saying he got an infection getting trust the process tattoo. That's wild. Let's go through the waffle. Look at this face. I'm angry. I gave you instructions and you couldn't take them. Odegaard, how did you not finish that chance? Bernardo Silva would have scored that. Right, anyway, it's only a quick press conference, so not too much waffle. On the result, I'm disappointed with the result, especially with the way we played. I think we deserve much more. Thought we were the better team. I haven't seen a team do that to Villa since we were here in Feb. Wasn't enough to win. We lacked accuracy in the opponent's box. On the Douglas Luiz challenge and the VAR at the end, clear and obvious. That's what I mean. Let me just say, and I haven't spoke about this, Havertz goal disallowed. Referee, I think he got it right. I don't agree with the rules, but if you look at the rules, if you score a goal and the ball hits your hand, they will disallow it. People saying it hit Matty Cash's hand, but because of where it hit Matty Cash on the arm, they're saying it wasn't handball. Now, what you can argue with, Diego Carlos should be sent off. He elbows Eddie in the face. And I know I was laughing. Information entertainment. It's a straight red. It's violent conduct. And second of all, I think Douglas Luiz's kick on Jesus is a foul. I think it's a penalty. I'm not interested in how big the kick was and how much force. It's a penalty. But it is what it is. It is what it is, people. I always say, I know the referees are terrible in this country. So what you've got to do is you've got to get the result without relying on the ref, unfortunately. How do you win the game? Martin Odegaard, put it in the back of the net from 9 yards, mate. And then we're not interested. But yeah, it's true. It's a definite penalty in my opinion. And it's a definite red card for Diego Carlos. On the threshold of the rule, that's my opinion. On dominating the game, we had so many big opportunities. Some of them we didn't even finish when they were completely open. We had to pick the right player to shoot. When we did it 2 or 3 times, it was an open goal almost. And we didn't manage to score. On taking Gabriel Martinelli off, it was because we started the attack in a way that wasn't too much from his side. We started to rush, play the ball in behind. And you aren't going to hurt them. I think it was enough to get much more than what we had. On fatigue, a team that is fatigued doesn't play against Villa in the way we played. And having to watch the game from the stand, said if I tried to adapt. I think the boys did really well. On Villa being title contenders, anybody can win a lot of games. We have to merit them every single week. Certainly they are up there. How we can avoid mischance it. Robbie, look what you've done. Look what you've done, Robbie. You're a disgrace and a cheat. Look what you've done. He's heard your interview. I think it was a bit windy. Need some more red stripe! It's nearly 2024. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. We've hit an all-time low of waffle settings. This is an all-time low in my opinion. I think it was a bit windy. I think I should just... I mean, was the wind just blowing one way? Did the wind only affect... Are they windproof? Are Aston Villa windproof? I can't believe what I'm reading. He actually did it, didn't he? He used the wind excuse. Klopp moans about 12:30s, but wind. You see a lot of misplaced balls, pause, having the right touch, having the right accuracy in certain passes. I don't know for sure. I have responsibility. I have to take it. He's gone and blamed the wind. He said it's windy. Oh, God. The co-man said, these are my decisions, not yours. I'm the gaffer. O'Malley, if Saliba versus Chelsea is handball, so is Cash. Cormac, would Daichi fix up Odegaard? I'd have Odegaard nowhere near Everton, mate. We're real men. We don't blame the wind. We play in tornadoes, mate. We eat bricks, we eat wood, we eat concrete. I just ate some glass for breakfast with some pebbles. You're blaming the wind. You're a disgrace, Arteta. We're real men at Everton. You need to start banter with the cone man press again. He's blamed the wind. I need to take it off my screen. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. He's blaming the wind. People. Teta. Who's the most delusional? Laurie, Robbie, Ty, or Julian? Nah, big 'em up, man. It was the wind. It was the wind. It's the wind, Curtis. It's the wind. We're playing tornadoes, mate. We're playing tornadoes at Everton, mate. Whatever you need, we can handle it. Thunderstorm, we'll play in it. We're real men. We don't blame wind. Get a dog named Wind. He farts a lot. Anyway, before we finish, I think we can agree on one thing. We need a striker. Give me any of these, please. As long as they can play in the wind. We don't need a fitness test. We'll run in the wind. Nyamming waffles, sipping syrup. We were lion stew while Arteta's on the non-touchline brew with that cone man music. Wind featuring Edu, track 7 on the new mixtape, Delusional Music, out now on Spotify, YouTube, and all other. Who do you want out of these three? Quick question before we round up. I'm going to end the stream before the wind gets too much and I won't be able to concentrate. Who would you rather have out of these three? I mean, let's be honest. We probably won't sign any of them. This is Arsenal, you know. Maybe the wind blew Odegaard shot wide, you know. It seems to me like you live your life like a candle in the wind. Dre says none of them. Dre, beggars can't be choosers. Marco said that Arsenal fan on Twitter eating a roast potato in 2 bites was more exciting than that Villa game. Big up Big C. Hey, don't tell them that on Twitter, mate. They'll go crazy. It's the wind. If you think the weather doesn't affect Arsenal, you're toxic. You've got an agenda. It couldn't affect anyone. Odegaard would have scored. It was gale force. VAR hates us. They've got an agenda against us. They're all Man City fans. Dre said he don't want none of these strikers. I'd take any of them at this point. Osimhen 100 million. Vlahovic around 70. Tony around 70. Personally, Vlahovic would be the last one for me. I'm singing Elton John. I mean, they're pushing me to levels. When I first started this channel, I was, singing Mavado and Cartel and Sizzler and 50 Cent lyrics and Tupac. In the last 2 weeks, I've sung Enrique Iglesias, Adele, and now I'm singing Elton John. I mean, something just ain't right. I don't know what this team does to you, but something ain't right with this football club. They're pushing me to new dimensions. I told you it's the Truman Show in real life. It's the real life Truman Show. People, I will be doing a pre-recorded preview for tomorrow's game. The only reason I haven't done it today is because the press conference is later on. And to be honest, it's a dead rubber tomorrow. I will be doing a watch-along. The game starts at 5:45 UK time. I'll be on from 4:45. I'll do a pre-recorded preview. That'll be out tonight. Arsenal against PSV. I think we've already won the group. I want to see multiple changes. I don't want to see Rice, Saliba, Saka, none of them. Play all the fringe players. And 4:45 tomorrow. So look out for the pre-recorded preview tonight. 4:45 PM tomorrow afternoon. I'll be live. 5:45 kickoff. And yeah, I'm off to sing some more R&B records, people. They've turned me into a mess, Arsenal. Don't worry, people. We can still win the league. Keep your chin up. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Arsenal Therapy. Hopefully we won't do another on for a while. Although keep that day after Anfield free around 2 p.m. just in case. I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.